Yeah, I think when you get that close, that it hurts even more, right? Like if you don't even make it to playoffs, you're like, one day. But when you're that close to getting there, it just leaves not a great taste in your mouth. And so I think we're all motivated. We don't even have to motivate each other. I think training camp has already been phenomenal. Not only the people coming back, but the people coming in, they know what they're coming into and our expectations. And so when you have people like Kelsey Mitchell, who's just a dog, like a dog, you have AB, you have Caitlin, and then
Off the Indiana Fever. Go into New York and walk out of New York with a W in hand. Things that I love. A single grainy photo has the entire sports world buzzing. And it's not a highlight reel dunk or a game-winning shot. It's a candid behind-the-scenes image that seems to show WNBA phenom Caitlin Clark wearing a back brace. A sight that the league and her team almost certainly never wanted the public to see. This single image, blurry and snatched in a moment of vulnerability, has ignited a firestorm of speculation, raising a terrifying question. Is the biggest star in women's basketball hiding a serious injury? And what does it mean for her future and the league that has placed all its bets on her? The silence from the Indiana Fever's camp is deafening, a void of information that only makes the swirling rumors grow louder and more menacing. Fans and analysts are left to piece together a puzzle that gets darker with every new theory, every whispered comment from an unnamed source. This isn't just about one game or one player. It's about the potential fragility of a phenomenon. The entire world is bought into the Caitlin Clark narrative, and this photo threatens to tear a hole right through it. But while the internet was dissecting every pixel of that photo, meticulously analyzing the straps and the posture, something else was happening on the court. Something that nobody saw coming. A story was unfolding that could change the trajectory of the entire franchise. A shocking twist that proved while everyone was watching the superstar, the real story was hiding in plain sight, ready to explode. The stage was set for a showdown that felt like a foregone conclusion. A classic David versus Goliath matchup, with David missing his most important sling. The Indiana Fever, a young team still finding its identity and struggling to build chemistry, traveled to the heart of the Big Apple to face the New York Liberty. A legitimate behemoth of a team. The Liberty aren't just a good team. They're a super team. A star-studded roster meticulously assembled for one purpose: total domination. They feature legends like Breanna Stewart, a two-time MVP, the unstoppable force of Jonquil Jones in the paint, and the sharpshooting phenom Sabrina Ionescu, a player who can change the game from beyond the arc. They are a championship-caliber machine designed to dismantle opponents with ruthless surgical efficiency. For the Fever, this was supposed to be another tough lesson. Another trial by fire in a season already full of them. The expectations couldn't have been lower. All eyes as always were on Caitlin Clark. But she seemed off from the moment she stepped on the court. A shadow of her usual explosive, confident self, which only added more fuel to the rumors swirling around her health. The arena was buzzing with an electric energy, but it was all for the home team. No one, absolutely no one in that building or watching at home expected what was about to happen next. This was supposed to be Clark's stage, but a different hero was about to steal the spotlight. From the opening tip, it was clear this wasn't going to be the expected blowout. The Fever were fighting back, but the engine of their resistance wasn't the player everyone anticipated. It was Sophie Cunningham. She stepped onto the court not like a role player, not like a supporting cast member, but like a woman on a mission, possessed by an unshakable confidence that bordered on sheer arrogance. It started with a three-pointer from the wing, a catch-and-dip motion so pure it seemed to hang in the air, an eternity before splashing through the net, silencing the boisterous home crowd for a brief, stunned moment. Then came another and another. Cunningham was playing in a zone, a state of flow that was mesmerizing to watch and terrifying for the Liberty to defend. She was hitting impossible shots with defenders draped all over her, pulling up from deep with a hand in her face and driving into the lane with a reckless abandon that sent a clear message. She would not be intimidated. She was playing with a level of aggression and precision that left the Liberty's elite defenders, players known for their lockdown capabilities, completely stunned and scrambling for answers. Every time New York went on a run, Every time they threatened to pull away and turn the game into the rout everyone anticipated, Cunningham had an answer. A clutch shot that stopped the bleeding. A critical steal that shifted the momentum. A fiery display of emotion that jolted her teammates back to life. She was a one-woman wrecking crew, a relentless offensive force that single-handedly kept the Fever in a fight they had absolutely no business being in. The performance was so dominant, so utterly unexpected that for long stretches of the game, you completely forgot who the so-called superstar on the team was supposed to be. This wasn't just a player having a good night. This was an eruption. But what Sophie Cunningham delivered was far more than just a spectacular number of points on the scoreboard. It was a masterclass in leadership that emerged from a vacuum of uncertainty. With Caitlin Clark playing a more subdued, almost hesitant game, visibly reluctant to attack the basket or take her signature deep threes, the team was desperately searching for an on-court general, a voice to guide them through the storm of facing a super team in their own arena. Cunningham became that voice, and she was loud. She was the one directing traffic on defense, barking out assignments, and calling out switches with the authority of a seasoned veteran. She was getting in her teammates' faces during dead balls, not to criticize, but to demand more, to ignite the fire within them. You could see her passion spreading like a contagion throughout the roster. Players who had looked timid and overwhelmed in previous games were suddenly playing with a new edge, a new level of grit and determination. She wasn't just scoring. She was elevating everyone around her, transforming a collection of young players into a cohesive fighting unit. This wasn't the quiet, supportive role player that fans were used to seeing. This was a commander taking charge of her unit in the heat of battle, exposing a leadership void that perhaps no one, not even the coaching staff, knew existed. And it begged a crucial question. Was this just a one-time explosion fueled by adrenaline? Or was the team's entire hierarchy being rewritten right before our eyes, all while its biggest star was battling a silent, hidden war with her own body? And what happened next would change everything, sending shock waves through the league. So let's go back to that damning photo, the image that started it all. The picture of Caitlin Clark in a back brace wasn't leaked by a major sports network or a trusted insider. It surfaced in the murky, chaotic corners of social media, allegedly posted by a fan who claimed to have snapped it near the team's locker room after a game. At first, it was dismissed as a fake, a poorly photoshopped image created by trolls looking to stir up drama. But as internet sleuths on platforms like Reddit and X began to dissect it, the details started to look chillingly real. The quality was poor, but the brace appeared to be a professional-grade medical device, the kind used for significant lumbar support following a serious strain or even a fracture. Suddenly, the speculation wasn't just idle fan chatter. It was a full-blown crisis for the Indiana Fever's front office. Theories exploded across the internet, each one more alarming than the last. Was it a stress fracture? A common but debilitating injury for basketball players, a herniated disc, which could have long-term implications for her career. Or was it the result of a nasty fall she took weeks ago? An incident that the team had brushed off as minor, but was actually far more serious. The Fever organization went into full damage control mode, issuing a vague corporate-sounding statement about managing player workloads and proactive recovery protocols, a classic non-answer that only intensified the mystery and fueled the fire of speculation. Insiders began to whisper to reporters off the record, suggesting that Clark had been receiving treatment for back issues for weeks, a secret kept under tight wraps to avoid creating a panic among fans and, more importantly, among the league's new corporate sponsors. The back brace, if real, wasn't just a piece of medical equipment. It was a symbol of a secret, a shocking revelation that the face of the league, the golden goose of the WNBA, was far from 100% healthy. This potential injury reveals a much darker, more troubling reality about the current state of the WNBA and the crushing weight of fame. Caitlin Clark is not just a player. She is an economic engine, a cultural phenomenon. Her arrival has brought unprecedented viewership numbers, sold-out arenas in every city she visits, and million-all media and merchandise deals. The league, its teams, and its broadcast partners have an immense financial stake in her being on the court every single night, performing at a superstar level. This creates a dangerous, almost unbearable amount of pressure to play through pain, to ignore the warning signs the body is sending when it's being pushed beyond its limits. The WNBA schedule is already notoriously grueling. A relentless grind of games with cross-country travel sandwiched in between, often on commercial flights. For a rookie who just came off a long and emotionally draining college season that ended in the NCAA championship game, there was no off-season, no time to rest, recover, and prepare her body for the next level. She was thrown directly from the college inferno into the professional fire, expected to single-handedly carry a franchise and elevate an entire league on her shoulders. The back brace in this context looks less like an isolated injury and more like an inevitable consequence of a system pushing its most valuable asset to the absolute breaking point. It raises an uncomfortable and urgent question. Is the league's explosive, much-needed growth coming at the direct cost of its biggest star's long-term health? What a DMN mess this could become if the answer is yes. Cunningham's historic out-of-nowhere performance, coupled with the swirling mystery surrounding Clark's health, has completely upended the Indiana Fever's internal dynamics, creating a new and unpredictable landscape. Before this game, the team's identity was simple and clear. It was Caitlin Clark's team. The offense ran through her. The media attention was almost exclusively on her, and the team's success or failure rested squarely on her young shoulders. But now all of that has been thrown into question. Sophie Cunningham proved that she is not just a supporting character in the Caitlin Clark show. She is a legitimate force, a player capable of taking over a game and leading the team to a shocking victory against an elite opponent. This creates a fascinating and potentially volatile new reality for the franchise. In the best-case scenario, the Fever now have a formidable 1-2 punch, a dynamic dual threat that will make them infinitely harder for opponents to defend. Teams can no longer throw all their defensive resources at stopping Clark when Cunningham is on the floor, capable of erupting for 30 points at any moment. But this sudden shift could also introduce a new layer of complexity and tension to the locker room. How does the established superstar, the face of the league, adjust to sharing the spotlight with a teammate who just dramatically outplayed her on a national stage? How does the rest of the team respond to a new assertive leader on the floor, potentially shifting their allegiance and focus? This single game may have saved their season from a downward spiral, but it also opened a Pandora's box of new questions about who this team really is and who will lead them into the future. It's a development that could either forge them into a true contender through healthy competition or fracture them from within due to ego and jealousy. It's a ST show waiting to happen or a championship team in the making. So, as the dust settles on one of the most shocking upsets of the WNBA season, two powerful and conflicting narratives emerge, leaving the future of the Indiana Fever shrouded in a dense fog of uncertainty. On one hand, you have the triumphant feel-good story of Sophie Cunningham's ascension, a gritty player who seized her moment in the spotlight and proved to the world that she is a star in her own right. A fiery leader who can carry her team to victory against all odds. On the other, you have the ominous and deeply unsettling story of Caitlin Clark, a generational talent apparently battling a secret injury, a walking symbol of the immense physical and mental pressure the league has placed upon her young shoulders. The real question is not just who will lead the Fever going forward, but what this single dramatic night in New York truly exposed to the world. Was it the birth of a new dynamic duo that will take the league by storm and turn the Fever into an unexpected powerhouse? Or was it a glaring red flag warning sign that the WNBA's most prized possession is already in danger, and the entire fragile empire being built around her is more vulnerable and at risk of collapse than anyone could have ever imagined? The answer to that question will define not only the fate of their season, but potentially the future of the entire league itself. A single grainy photo has the entire sports world buzzing, and it's not a highlight reel dunk or a game-winning shot. It's a candid behind-the-scenes image that seems to show WNBA phenom Caitlin Clark wearing a back brace, a sight that the league and her team almost certainly never wanted the public to see. This single image, blurry and snatched in a moment of vulnerability, has ignited a firestorm of speculation, raising a terrifying question. Is the biggest star in women's basketball hiding a serious injury? And what does it mean for her future in a league that has placed all its bets on her? The silence from the Indiana Fever's camp is deafening, a void of information that only makes the swirling rumors grow louder and more menacing. Fans and analysts are left to piece together a puzzle that gets darker with every new theory, every whispered comment from an unnamed source. This isn't just about one game or one player. It's about the potential fragility of a phenomenon. The entire world has bought into the Caitlin Clark narrative, and this photo threatens to tear a hole right through it. But while the internet was dissecting every pixel of that photo, meticulously analyzing the straps and the posture, something else was happening on the court. Something that nobody saw coming. A story was unfolding that could change the trajectory of the entire franchise. A shocking twist that proved while everyone was watching the superstar, the real story was hiding in plain sight, ready to explode. The stage was set for a showdown that felt like a foregone conclusion. A classic David versus Goliath matchup with David missing his most important sling. The Indiana Fever, a young team still finding its identity and struggling to build chemistry, traveled to the heart of the Big Apple to face the New York Liberty, a legitimate behemoth of a team. The Liberty aren't just a good team, they're a super team. If you like this video, please like and subscribe this channel for more update.